Hello everyone. Welcome to my 6-step guide to embodied motivation video. There's going to be 2 parts to this. So this week we're going to look at the body and how we can get the body motivated. And next week we're going to look more at the cognitive side, the coaching side of motivation, and how we can integrate both of those because they're not separate. The mind and body are both interlinked, as we know. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michelle Major. I am founder of the Sunshine Project. And for the last almost a decade now, I have been developing and delivering personal development programs and stress management programs to a wide variety of different organizations. So you're very welcome. If you could just give me a thumbs up if the sound is okay, if you can hear me okay, or if you're feeling super kind, you could maybe give me a little heart emoji. That would be super. Whether you're listening on live with me or on playback, you are very welcome. And maybe in the comments box, it would be really lovely to know where everyone is from. So if you want to just type in where you're watching from this morning or on playback, that would be super. So grab yourselves a cuppa or a glass of water as I'm drinking, and relax and sit back and relax for the next 15-20 minutes roughly, and enjoy this session. I really genuinely hope it helps. So let's make a start. I should also say at the end of the session, I will be going into the comments section and I will answer any questions, or if there's any comments there, I will interact with you at that stage. Okay, so let's now make a start. When the subject of motivation came up, and it was the most popular one, which is why we're starting off with this, I thought, I can't just go into the coaching side of motivation and ignore what happens in the body. So that's why we're starting off with the body, because here's the thing. If we are feeling really stressed, if our bodies are feeling really stressed, it's pretty difficult to self-motivate yourself out of that exhausted state in the body. So it's super important that we are mindful of how our body feels and also how we are feeling. And, you know, we are living in very challenging times. Whilst we're out of lockdown, we are having to adapt to a new way of being and a new way of living. We've had to change how we do our business. We've had to change how we interact. We have had to change how we shop, how our children go to school, and that's not even taken into account the pressures financially, economically, redundancies, job losses. It's huge, and that is a lot for one person to contain and to deal with. So if you are feeling overwhelmed at the minute, please know that that is a normal and natural response, biological response that's happening in your body to the environment, to the stress at the minute. And that doesn't even take into account our personal stresses, the things that might be going on at home as well. So it's really important when we think about motivation is that we take a step back and we come back into our bodies. Okay, let's just take a moment just to take a nice big deep breath in. And let's do that again, breathing in. Lovely. So be gentle with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. And yeah, let's look at the 6-step process. So the first thing to do with motivation is to check in with yourself. I think that's just a really lovely thing to do anyway, to get into the habit of checking in with yourself. So step 1 of my 6 guided process is check in with yourself. Okay, so checking in with, how do I feel today? How do I feel in this moment even? And recognizing how your body feels. So I'm guessing that if you're not feeling motivated, there might be a reason for that. And the reason might be all of this stress that's going on in the world, and your system might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. When our body goes into overwhelm, it can go into a freezy type response. So when you check in with your body, if you're in that freezy type response, how will you know? Well, you'll know because you'll feel it. So you'll feel it in your body. When we become overwhelmed with stress, it's a little bit like driving your car with the foot on the accelerator, I had to think there, and your other foot on the brake. That's what a freeze response feels like. It's exhausting, really exhausting. And it's really difficult to self-motivate out of that. We really have to check in with our body. So other examples is you might feel fatigued with that response. You might feel a heaviness in your body. You might be cold, so you might notice that you feel a little bit chilly in your hands, your feet, or maybe your whole body. There is a real lack of motivation and a lack of energy in the body. Also, there can be feelings of, you can feel a bit helpless and a bit low, your mood might be low as well. And we're going to look at that as we journey through the different steps. So even just recognizing that feeling in the body, and I know certainly with myself, what we're finding with the current situation is that we're going through wee waves of these responses in the body because of the additional stress that we're experiencing at the minute. So whilst you might not have had that response in the body for a long time, you might be finding you're having little mini responses more frequently now because of COVID. Again, knowing that this is not your fault and that it's normal and natural is really super important. Sometimes with myself, I had a few wee days in lockdown when I felt like I was in this response. And even just identifying and knowing that you're in that response can be super helpful to get a little shift in energy in the system. So first of all is checking in. So get into the habit of checking in with yourself, how you're feeling, how your body is feeling. The next stage for embodied motivation, if you're feeling that heaviness in the body, is number 2 is to check out. Check out. Sometimes when our bodies feel flooded and overwhelmed with stress, what our body really needs to do is just check out. And what I mean by that is rest. So having a day where you're lying on the sofa, you're having a Netflix day, you bring down your coziest blanket, touch the blanket, so bring in some nice sensory touch to that, and just really allow yourself to relax. So when we are in the parasympathetic nervous system, that is one way that we can soothe it, is from rest and also from sleep. Now, I'm sure I'm no different from yourselves. I definitely had days where I was on the sofa with the blanket watching Netflix all day long. But it's really important that if you're allowing yourself, and here's the word allow, because we live in a culture that places more value on doing than being. So if we don't typically allow ourselves to just be and to relax and take time out, what we can find is the thoughts and the narrative in our mind can be quite judgy and can perhaps be a little bit critical. So just notice that, just notice that, and again, bringing some kindness and compassion to your thoughts, because your system is yearning for the rest. It's yearning for the rest and for some pleasure without the shame attached to it. So allowing yourself to eat that chocolate bar and fully enjoy the chocolate bar without any guilt and without any shame. And here's the thing, you know, we're not human doings, we're human beings. And sometimes we forget to just be. And sometimes that's all our body needs to regulate, is to just have a day of rest. So being before doing, always be before do. Even this morning, before I went live on this call, I took 10 minutes to really ground myself and to just be, because I noticed, you know, the nerves and the excitement, there was a mixture, and my heart was going quite fast, my mouth was quite dry. So what I had to do was really just bring myself down and just get myself nice and grounded, feet on the floor, couple of nice deep breaths, and also telling myself some nice things about myself as well. So allow yourself the day of rest. And sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes that's all we need. We just need a duvet day. I know myself during lockdown, when I maybe had a freezy response day and I thought, you know, I really need to rest. One thing that came up for me, and it might come up for you too, is that our expectations, we have these really high expectations of ourselves. And one thing that I've had to learn to do is to actually bring down my expectations. Because when we're trying to do everything by ourselves, it's impossible. So there's a lovely saying, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And that for me was really reassuring, and also it was a huge relief. So sometimes we need to just lower our expectations of ourselves, because if we have these really super high expectations and then we don't meet them, we end up feeling failure and that we're not good enough. So just bring the expectations down a little. Be a little bit kinder to yourself. And also, if you're having a day where you're feeling heavy and you're feeling you need to rest, please be mindful of the comparison trap. It's so easy to fall into that these days, especially with social media. So just bear in mind that if you're having a day that, you know, you're not feeling particularly great, the last thing you want to do is go on social media and start comparing yourself with other people. That is really toxic and really, really unhealthy. So just bear in mind that everybody online is showing their best selves. They're not showing you the days that they're under a nice blanket eating chocolate and watching Netflix. So just bear that in mind as well. Okay, so 1, check in. So 2, check out. 3, connect in. So when we are feeling really overwhelmed within our body, sometimes we want to retreat back and we want to kind of go further within. And as we do that, if you notice what's happening in my body, there's a tightness, and there's a closing in. And what we really want to do when we feel that response in the body is we want to connect in. So connect in with a friend, a family member that you trust, that is compassionate and that can listen. And sometimes I hear people say when they're in that response, I don't want to be a burden, or I don't want to pull somebody else's energy down when I'm feeling low. But actually, that's the one thing that could actually pull you out of that response in the body, is chatting to someone. And if you're fortunate enough like me that has some really funny friends, hopefully you'll get a good giggle and a laugh, which will ignite the core and your diaphragm. And the parasympathetic nervous system loves that. and it loves social engagement too. So please don't sit on your own and isolate yourself further. Please reach out. And if you find perhaps you don't have anyone to talk to, there are lots and lots and lots of different organisations out there that can really help. So please don't do this on your own. Please seek out and reach out for help and for support. So we're on to number 4 now, which is connect out. So we're going to connect in with our friends, and now we're going to connect out. And what I mean by that is grounding our energy and grounding our body so we feel safe within our body. So at the minute, when we look to the world, it can feel a little scary, it can feel a little uncertain and fearful and unsafe. So we want to bring some safety into our body. And a lovely way to do that is through our senses. So some active forms of mindfulness. So, you know, just orientating ourselves into our space. So perhaps looking around your room, noticing some things that you can see in your room, outside of your room, noticing the shapes, the colours, the textures, and just really bringing in your 5 senses as much as you can to really just ground your energy as well. Number 5 is movement. So, and I know what you're thinking, oh Michelle, when my body is feeling so exhausted and tired, the last thing I want to do is move. I get that, I know that. But here's the thing, behind that freezy response is your sympathetic nervous system that is ready and waiting for some movement, so to get it going. So if you think, oh, going for a walk or a run or doing yoga or stretching is out of the question, your body will love that, by the way, but if that seems too much, then think of your most favourite song, okay? And when you think of your most favourite song, it has to be really upbeat, lots of rhythm with it as well, and pop it on. And just notice as you listen to it, hopefully there is a good rhythm in it and you can move your body. And as you move your body, you will start to get that energy going within the body, which will create movement, rhythm, and hopefully some motivation as well. Other things that you can do is gardening. So it's something that I love to do. Cook yourself something really delicious, stretch your body, do yoga, go for a walk. And again, if going for a walk in nature seems like too big a deal, what you could do is use your mind to imagine what that might feel like. So our mind thinks in pictures. So imagine yourself walking in your most favourite place and just imagining what you're going to see, what you're going to hear, what you're going to experience, and how your body is going to feel whilst you're doing that and after. So bring in your imagination again to bring some ease and some movement into the body. So movement is really important. And the 6th and final stage to my embodied motivation is mindset. It's so important when our bodies are feeling overwhelmed and feeling heavy to be aware of the thoughts that we're thinking during that time. And all too often when we're feeling that heaviness in the body, you know, our thoughts can go to things like, I can't do that. That seems too much. I can't. So it goes to the I can't. What can bring some ease into our bodies when we're in that state is actually making a list of all the things that you can do and you can do really well, and making a list, even if the list is down to making your bed in the morning. I can make a very good bed in the morning. Write that down. That's something that you can do and you can do really well. It might be, I can make a really good veggie spaghetti bolognese, if I do say so myself. So write down. If you can make something, if you can cook something, if you can bake something really well, write that down. If you can dance, write that down. So anything that you can do and do well, remind yourself of those things that you can do well. And when the body feels that call to action, that sympathetic arousal effect, and that's really what we want to do. We want to really kickstart the body so the body is in that call to action. We want to ignite that arousal so that we're feeling the energy, we're feeling that we want to move our body, that we want to take action, that we want to be expressive, that we want to be creative. So it's that call to action. And that's the 6-step process, is hopefully one of those steps will really help bring ease and bring movement and arousal to your system so that you feel more motivated. I would also invite you to do things every day that make you feel good. So some self-care, but allowing yourself 2 things, pleasure and enjoyment, yeah? And bringing that pleasure and bringing that enjoyment into your everyday life. So if you don't enjoy running, don't run. Do things that feel good, that feel nourishing, that feel nurturing for yourself and for your body. We all deserve that, even more so now when we're in this current situation. In fact, our bodies are craving for it more than ever. To feel safe, to feel grounded, and to bring some enjoyment and pleasure. I hope that was useful. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comment section and I will be on to have a look at them now shortly. Also, if you are interested in the PDF, so I have a 3-pager PDF of all of those steps that I spoke about. And if you would like that, because I know some of us are very visual people, and some of us learn by listening, some of us learn by seeing, so we all have different learning styles. So I've prepared this for you as well. If you would like that, if you'd like a copy of that, I'm going to put the form in the comment section, and you can you just need to put 2 things in, your first name and your email, and we'll get that out to you within the next 24 hours or so. So thank you so much for listening. Next week, we are going to look at the mindset of motivation. So body first, yeah, getting the body motivated, getting the body regulated, getting the body grounded, getting the body feeling really, really safe. And then there are various other steps that we can do to actually keep that momentum going, to keep that motivation going. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to next week. Take care. Have a great day.